Hello you wonderful people, and welcome back to another Mental Health Monday. Today we are going to be talking about anxiety, in specific high functioning anxiety. I wanted to do a video on 10 signs you may have high functioning anxiety. So this may look like you feeling a sense of utter dread every single day, but still getting up and going to work as normal, and to the outside world it still looks like you've got it together. You're still going to parties, meeting friends, spending time in public places, but no one is seeing what is going on inside your brain, or the thoughts and the work that it has taken you to just step outside your front door. So for me, I identify with this because my anxiety doesn't cripple me to the point where I can't leave the house. I mean, on some days it does, but I work for myself, I own a house, I have an active social life, and you know, to the average observer, I have a very enjoyable, a very good, a very blessed life, which I do. However, anxiety every single day doesn't make it feel like that. I wake up overthinking and I go to sleep overthinking. Anxiety pretty much rules my life if I don't keep a tab on it. So I just wanted to give you 10 different signs / symptoms that you may have high functioning anxiety. So number 1, you may have low self-esteem. Low self-esteem is a lot of the time linked to anxiety because you don't feel good enough, you don't feel like you're achieving enough. I don't know if any of you have noticed, but certainly for me, when I feel more confident, my anxiety is way lower. Like when I feel like I look good, or when I feel like I've, done something really good, my anxiety levels are lower. Number 2 is you're a perfectionist. Perfectionism and anxiety go hand in hand. Like I mentioned earlier, I am a high achiever and I'm also a perfectionist, which is often a downfall because I've gone through my life willing things to be perfect and going with the stick rather than the carrot method, in that I will punish myself and think negative things to get things done instead of thinking kind things and positive things. The next one, which is also like linked in, I mean they're all linked in with each other, but is you procrastinate. You procrastinate on things because you fear that what you're about to do may not be good enough. And again, this is linked with the self-esteem thing. I do this a lot with my work. I often go through a cycle of procrastinating, doing something that needs getting done, and then I end up not doing it, and then I end up beating myself up for procrastinating, and then I end up beating myself up for being lazy, and then it kind of becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because you're self-sabotaging by procrastinating. But I think one thing that I've learned is that it's definitely better to take one tiny little step than no steps at all. It is always better to take messy action than no action. The next thing is you have a constant negative thought loop from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, and this is what I was speaking about earlier. My anxious thoughts are not very kind to me. I worry about everything and anything, and if you find yourself seeing things that other people wouldn't necessarily see as huge things to be anxious about, and you're constantly worrying and thinking negative thoughts, what happens if I don't get this done? What's going to happen if I miss my train? And you're thinking everything is the end of the world. For example, recently my fridge broke, and to me that was literally the end of the world. And I spoke to my psychiatrist and he was like, Maddie, you've literally rated this as a 10 out of 10 on the anxiety scale. What do you think realistically it should really be? I think, my life being in danger is a 10 out of 10, but my fridge breaking probably like a 4. The next thing is constantly comparing yourself to others. Again, this comes in with low self-esteem, feeling that you're not good enough. You're constantly thinking that everybody else is doing better than you. I can definitely relate to this because I only ever compare myself to people who I deem to be above me, mainly in life, in monetary status, in work. I only ever look up to those people that are doing like incredible things, and the reality of that is that they are a small percentage of people, and I often forget to compare myself to those who may be less fortunate than myself and maybe looking at my life thinking that it looks amazing. My gratitude goes out the window when I compare myself to other people, and we all do it, especially with social media making things worse. Constantly having a lack of sleep, that's the next one. Lack of sleep and anxiety. It can be very, very hard to fall asleep when your brain is just on this constant negative overthinking thought loop. I know for me, I've had to carefully create a nighttime routine to try and like bring my anxiety levels down, and then sometimes I don't do said anxiety routine, and then what happens? I can't sleep. I mean, even sometimes when I do the right things, I still can't sleep, but I find often writing things down before I go to sleep definitely helps me. And obviously not having sleep affects your anxiety the next day as well. You're highly likely to be more anxious the next day if you haven't slept, and that is like one of my major anxieties is around not sleeping. Like, am I going to get enough hours sleep? And then I'm constantly worrying like, oh, tomorrow is going to be a shit day because I haven't had any sleep, and tomorrow hasn't even happened yet. The next one is the need to keep yourself busy / occupied all the time, and this definitely is interlinked with procrastination, I would say, and the sleep one especially, because a lot of us, I know for me, a lot of the time I will watch something or I will scroll before I go to bed on social media just to keep my mind occupied so I don't have to think about the thoughts in my head, which actually then has a negative impact on me. I feel guilty when I sit doing nothing, therefore I will constantly have to, like in my head, I will constantly have to be doing something productive. Whatever my brain deems productive is just ridiculous, but often this is a tactic to distract yourself from what you're feeling, and it's so much more beneficial to just sit and feel and work through whatever it is you're feeling. The next one is getting paranoid about things, especially friendships. I know with anxiety it can 100% feed into friendships in that you know, if someone doesn't reply to your text, your mind can go to the worst place and you can think that they hate you, or if someone cancels on you, you can take it very, very personally. So try not to read into these things too much. Everyone's busy, everyone has their own things going on, everyone has their own lives, and for me one of the most important things I have learned is that, you know, if someone has been your great friend and then they cancel on you, the likelihood is they don't hate you. So it's important to look at the bigger picture in these scenarios. And then the final one is you always think about the worst case scenario. Absolutely everything is the end of the world. In me with my fridge breaking, I thought that was the end of the world. You know, missing a train is the end of the world. Being late is the end of the world. I think not being able to get a parking space in the supermarket is the end of the world. The list goes on. But anxiety wrongly interprets situations and makes us feel as if they are these huge, massive problems, when in actual fact they're really not. And it's so important to be able to take a step back when your anxiety is screaming, oh my god, like this is terrible, this is the end of the world, and think, actually, you know, worst case scenario, what's going to happen? I will be able to work through it and find a solution, and if I'm late, I'm late. If you do feel any or all of these symptoms, just please know that there is hope in getting better. And I think the first step is to recognize these symptoms and put a name to them. Recognizing also when you're doing things and bringing awareness to the ingrained negative thought loop is so important. If you would like more tips on how to cope with high functioning anxiety, I would love to do a part 2 on how I cope with it on a daily basis, so just let me know in the comments below. It is something that's difficult to suffer with, because to the outside person it can look like you are achieving amazing things in life, but no one knows what's going on inside your head. So I am sending love to all of you. Please do make sure, if you did enjoy this video, to give it a thumbs up, and I will see you all in next week's Mental Health Monday video. Goodbye.